welcome to edition 113 of our Killa No Filler podcast with me, Rachel Fairburn, and Kiri Pritchard-McLean. Just before we start, we'll do our usual disclaimer. This isn't hero worship. We do this podcast because we have mutual interest in serial killers. As long as we are doing this podcast, it stops us from writing to them in prison.
This is a Halloween special, which is why you won't be able to, if you're listening, that ghost is wearing a pumpkin t-shirt. And I've borrowed some spooky earrings from Rachel Fairburn.
I think I got those in America, you know.
Did you?
Yeah.
But I've gone for a very haunted boiler suit in what I'm wearing. So yes, Rachel's really stepped up her game.
Well, not really. I mean, these things just hang. Look, duvet covers Halloween.
Yeah.
These are, look.
I think bones are in neutral. You can wear them all year round.
1st of October, I'm down TK Maxx getting everything cheap.
Well,
so,
do you know what I'm already... Do you ever see something and go, I've got my eye on that already?
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you.
Oh,
Stacey Solomon's George at Home Halloween range.
Stacey Solomon with a George at Home range. I can't believe it.
That is probably the richest woman in showbiz. There's nothing that she doesn't have a brand deal with. And she's done entirely gold skeletons, life-size skeletons.
Oh, wow. What?
Those are my two favourite things.
Flipping
Bones
heck.
and gold.
That sounds really
I'm like
cool.
a pirate. Yeah, it's
I like
great.
bones and I like gold. Do you know what makes me laugh? You know, sometimes people, instead of doing, obviously you have the pirate noise, which is
Arr.
R. Sometimes people get that mixed up with the farmer noise, which is ooh-ar.
Oh, yeah.
So people do that a lot, like, I'm a pirate, ooh-ar. It's like, now mate, you're a farmer. And it really makes me laugh when people get that mixed up. Really subtle thing to get annoyed about that, but annoyed nonetheless.
X marks the spot where we buried all those cow carcasses after foot and mouth.
Ooh-ar. So this will be out on Halloween. Mm-hmm. We will coming to Ireland.
We'll have come to Ireland.
We will have been to Ireland.
And
thanks
I
for
know now
coming.
it'll be great.
Yeah, it will be great. The weather here is awful. It's very Halloweeny, isn't it?
It's very, do you know what, though? Fair play to September. There was a week or so where it was like scorching. Really, probably some of the nicest weather all year. And then it does that thing that always does. It hits the second week and it goes, I've had enough of that.
Yeah,
Go
no,
fuck
thank you.
yourself. And then it becomes full, like, shitty autumn. And I respect that.
I like it. I'm happy with this. I love it like this, but then you think, I don't want to go out. I hope it's not like this when I have to go out for my gig. Anyway, speaking of spooky, went to York for my birthday. Stayed in the Guy Fawkes Inn. And not an advert, just a bit of information. And I went on a ghost tour.
Love it. Not impressed with the ghost tour.
2 words for you. Dog shit. Didn't like the guy.
What
Not
did you take to
Fawkes,
him?
the tour guide. I didn't like his attitude.
To ghosts?
To
Or you?
anybody.
Right.
He was...
Can I just, before we proceed, are there multiple ghost tours or are we...
There are multiple ones.
Fine.
And Tim chose the one... Well, I mean, it's very much of a muchness, isn't it? But he looked and it said this one was the best one. I assume there is a roster of people.
Right, okay.
And I assume on this night we got the man who either has... a severe head injury,
Fucking hell.
alcohol problem, or a bad attitude, or all three.
It should be a stand-up.
No. I think there was something in him that I thought, I bet he's tried stand-up, right? I don't know what it was about him. I can't put my finger on it. I just didn't like the guy.
So you just got vibes?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got vibes. I just didn't like him. And I mean, it was nice to have a little walk around York, wasn't it? You know, but yeah, I didn't like him at all.
I think York's a very underrated city. I think it's lovely.
I think overrated, to be honest. I mean,
Maybe,
and I love it. I think it's great.
Maybe it's because I'm in Wales and the cities that everyone talks about where I am, Manchester and Liverpool, they would never mention York.
Oh, York. I mean, York is great. It's just very, I find it quite, sometimes, you know, it's very busy at times, isn't it? Very busy in the day. And, yeah, it's good. They had a shop that was a confectioner's that sold rock. And I said to Tim, hey, shall I go in and say, you got any of that cock-shaped rock in here? He went, oh, why'd you have to try and, why'd you have to ruin everything?
There's a really great shop that's full of nut stuff called something Emporium, is it? There's a ghost, the ghost
the
merchant.
little ghost merchants, yeah.
And then there's another one that's like, Imaginarium or something like that.
Have
That's
I-
meant to be amazing.
I think I've been in there. I must have been in. There's loads of nice little shops in the little bookshops and things like that. And I got a flute.
Yeah, what is this about?
Right. So I went in. There's a medieval house that you can go in. I didn't pay to go in. I just went in the gift shop because we were on a time limit. And I went in and they had a gift shop. I was like, oh, this is brilliant. Anyway, a wooden flute. Pass it here.
Why in a... What was the thing? A medieval...
It was a medieval house that you can go in. I haven't learned anything yet.
No.
But £2.50, the best £2.50 I've spent. If you need me to lay down some flute on your tracks, mate, give me a shout.
Do you know what I would like is for the next time we do this, is for you to have learned the theme tune.
Oh!
I mean, it's not bad, considering you're freestyling.
I mean, you've hardly asked me to play some Chopin or something, have you? Anyway, £2.50, but I got it, and I walked out the shop and I'm going, and I said, Tim was like, oh, and I said, and I kept going at things, and he wasn't very happy. But I said to him, oh, outside the Minster, I said, hey, shall I stand there and go, gather round, everybody, there's news from London? And he went, don't, because people will. I was like, yes, you're right, actually, I won't, I will not. So if anyone wants to, if anyone is the native flute, I believe it's called, or a toy flute, I think, because it was in the children's section.
Also, it can't be that native because it's made of bamboo, which, as far as I know, was not knocking around in the United Kingdom.
Bamboo? Oh, I think they mean like native from somewhere else.
Okay.
Which is, very much on brand for us, like, isn't it? Where's that from? I'll have it. Thank you.
We own that now.
Thank you.
Well, it's a lovely, lovely side to you, the flute.
Yeah, I like it.
It was, just for the context of people who, I mean, you can't see if you're watching, and you definitely couldn't see if you're... Oh, no.
I'm bored of the flute now, are we?
No, I'm bored of being on tour. I'm just tired from being on tour. It was on Rachel's bedside table, that flute, so I can just imagine you sat up like Morecambe and Wise with a little flute.
You'll still be on tour when this goes out?
I
Never
will
ending this bloody tour.
Never not be on tour. Yeah, I'm on tour until December. I've added an extra date at Bangor. We'll see what happens with that.
Go and see her. My tour is on sale. That's in February. I'm very relaxed about it. Come, don't come. Not asked, mate. I am asked about the tour, but I'm not asked about if people come or not, which they will. So come, that'll be nice. Especially if you're in fucking Belfast, because here's what happened, right?
Belfast has been slow for me.
Come to Belfast. Oh, hello, Belfast. Where are you?
Yeah.
So come, if you're in Belfast. Anyway. I bet Katrina will be there. I met Katrina in Belfast a couple of years ago.
What, in the waves?
No. She'll be there. Anyway, we must get on. This is your choice of this episode, and I hate this guy.
Yeah. Well, I'm not saying I like him, but I did discuss on a previous episode someone that I would like to cover for a special. He is not technically a serial killer, so this is what we do for Halloween and Christmas episodes. We will go off piste a little bit. So this is Nicholas Rossi.
Hate him.
Yeah, he's really awful, and it's really complicated and really weird. Now, there's lots to discuss. He's got lots of aliases. You may well know him by his other name, Arthur Knight. You may know him without even knowing that you know him yet. But we're going to start with his kind of childhood and upbringing, aren't we?
Well, he was born Nicholas Alaverdian, July the 11th, 19...
I love that name.
Alaverdian. It's quite nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
I thought he meant Nicholas. I was like, it's all right. July the 11th, 1987, in Providence, Rhode Island. As we know, his other names that he used, Nicholas Rossi, Ross Nick. Not Nick Ross, Crime Watch fans. Nick Allen?
Yeah.
Nicholas Brown, Arthur Knight. So, yeah, I don't know. It's... I just hate him is the bottom line. The whole thing, do you know what it is? And also, I will say this now, I watched a Channel 4 documentary about it. Didn't like the tone of the documentary.
Oh, really?
It's not funny. I mean, I know we do this.
Oh, they're trying to make it funny.
A funny, we do this podcast. But I don't know, I didn't like the idents in it, the sort of making it out like it was, I don't know.
Like a caper?
Yeah, that's it. And also, like, making people look stupid that they're interviewing.
Yeah.
Like, when people sit down and they'll say something. And so
like, is it on?
Yeah, like, oh, God, I mean, I never thought I'd be here talking about this. I just
Yeah.
Hate that vibe. It really, either make a documentary and be serious about it, because the guy's a fucking rapist, or
It's weird.
Don't.
It's weird to have the victims speaking very like eloquently and honestly and being very fragile and vulnerable.
Yeah, and then like, yeah, it's like I swear to God, it really bugs me. Yeah, really bugs me.
But this is a like bizarre kind of panto-esque case, apart from all the horrible crimes at the middle of it.
Yes,
but yeah, there's obviously an obligation when you're making a documentary to.
Yeah, well, I think so. Yeah, the father was Jack Alaverdian, and the mother was Diana Filippo.
Yes.
Now Diana was 21, Jack was 31.
De Filippo, I think.
De Filippo.
Yeah, De Filippo.
Diana was 21, Jack was 31. So they had quite a volatile relationship by all accounts.
Yeah.
They had fights. Jack was often unemployed. Diana was working in cafes, being a waitress, and they moved around a lot. On July the 11th, 1987, this is when Nicholas was born. He was the first of 3 children. He was named after Diana's father and brother.
Yeah.
Now, this is horrible. Now, Diana's little brother died aged 13 in an accident when he was trying to mimic a trick that he saw on The Tonight Show.
Yeah, it was a stuntman doing something, and he did
grim,
it, and
innit?
he hung himself.
Oh,
by
Christ
mistake.
alive.
13 as well. It's just so grim, isn't it?
Yeah.
What's that called? Is it death by misadventure?
Yes.
I think that is like one of the most poetic things to have written on a death certificate.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's never not tragic, is it?
Yeah.
But also it encompasses like adorable boy trying to do a stuntman trick at 13 and accidentally, killing himself, and asphyxie wank.
Yeah, exactly. It's just
The whole gamut of human emotions there.
Yeah, it's just really
The
grim.
whole way that men can die.
Yeah,
The
absolutely.
entire spectrum.
Joseph was born in 1989, and 6 months later, Diana filed for divorce from Jack. Jack said, "She took everything, even the coffee maker." It reminds me of the... there's a video of Wembley, when Oasis played Wembley many years ago. It's a terrible, terrible gig. It's online. You can watch it. And Liam Gallagher's just got divorced, or he's divorcing Patsy Kensit, and he's clearly off his nut on something. And it's a dreadful gig, and he's going, "She's left me with nothing, she's not even left a tea bag." And Noel's like, "Shut the fuck up." Like, I've never seen a man look more angry with somebody. It just reminded me of that, she took everything, even a coffee maker. This next
Also,
one's coffee maker.
Say kids first. Like, before you're talking
She's
about
taking
the
the
Nespresso.
kids, yeah. She's taking even the bloody coffee machine. Well, they're expensive, aren't they? We've got a coffee machine here. I ain't got a fucking clue how to use it.
I think coffee machine is one of the most, like, bought things that then sits gathering dust in the kitchen.
Well, Tim uses it, but I look at it and I'm like, I don't know what to do.
I'm going to sound like a real a-hole now, but my partner's had, like, barista training, and you wouldn't believe how... So it's very, like, the amount of seconds, the amount of grams, it's all very, like...
Is it an art?
No, I wouldn't say it's an art. It's just, like, it is particular. It's like baking.
Is it
right?
like when you hear about people going on holiday to Italy and asking an Italian to can I have chicken on this pizza? And then and they smash the place up. Do you know what I mean?
I know what you mean. It's not quite like that, but it's mad because people will spend hundreds and hundreds of pounds on a coffee, and then have bad coffee from it because they don't actually know how to work the coffee machine well.
Interesting.
So it's just one of those things that's like a bit of an affectation, I think.
Listen, two spoonfuls of granules, get it down you.
What's your granule of choice?
I don't care.
Really?
No, I'm not.
Mellow Birds.
I used to love Mellow Birds.
My mum was like, "Don't bring that in the house. I get a migraine."
If it's just in
the house, get it in the porch. I've got a migraine.
Well, you don't drink hot drinks. See, I'm much more of a tea drinker, as you know. 2 tea bags, very strong. Leave the tea bags in.
I didn't know that about you.
Yeah, 2 tea bags.
I've always made it with 1. I'm so sorry.
Doesn't matter. I will have 1. It's my tea bags. I'm happy to waste. I understand people are on a budget. Oh look, there's been many. Very. If you're in America, the trash man.
Oh, is that what they're called?
I don't know. Just trying to include people.
Aren't they called like garbage disposal?
Garbage guys.
Garbage guys.
Anyway, this is. I've got myself into a sidetrack here.
You're talking about
boring
tea.
myself. Coffee. I am not interested in. Although, here's something for you. I meant to say, I invented a new drink and I gave it a name.
Right.
So, right, just a black Americano with a, you know the syrups they have, one splash of vanilla sugar-free syrup, right? What do I call it?
I don't know.
A sweet widow. Because it's black and it's got a bit of sweetness in it. It's a sweet widow.
The way you leant into the microphone there is one of the most embarrassing
Right.
things I've ever seen.
But you know when
I felt like I walked in on you in the toilet.
when I invented this drink, right? Because I was sitting there and I was like, oh, it's funny this. Maybe I'll call this a sweet widow. Right? And I really tried to get it going for a few days, and Tim just ignored me. But I thought of your partner actually. I just thought it was the kind of thing that he'd say. That
he'd love that. Yeah.
I thought he'd like this.
Yeah,
he'd appreciate it.
I'll pass it on. Don't worry.
Tell him I've invented a drink called the Sweet Widow.
I also think you'd really like that.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I mean, I don't usually like sugary things, but, you know, have a Sweet Widow. In fact, send us your pictures of you enjoying a Sweet Widow. Where do you drink your Sweet Widow?
We'd be lovely on breakfast TV, wouldn't we?
Oh.
Absolutely lovely.
Let us know.
If they ever let two women on it.
Also, I can drink coffee any time of the day. I could drink it before I go to bed. I don't have any sort of... It doesn't keep me awake. It doesn't have that effect on me. It's just... I just go...
You're about to get diagnosed with something from that.
Well, I wonder if it's because I drink so much tea, because I drink 10 cups of tea a day at least. I wonder if it's because I'm just full of caffeine.
Isn't tea got very low amounts of caffeine? You know what? We'll get people messaging in about that.
Please don't. I beg of you, don't. I don't
Someone's
care.
going to diagnose you with ADHD because...
ADHD.
Really good. Stimulants don't
This
affect our brain
is
same
the
way.
thing, right? Well, maybe... I think is that maybe... Look, if I've got... Whatever I've got, fine. I'm not asked. Do you know what I mean? Like, yes, I've got OCD. Yes, I've got body dysmorphia. Fine. Tell me I've got ADHD. And what?
A few more letters after the name.
Well,
MBE, OCD.
Yeah. Got more letters from mental illness than I have from any education. GCSEs, 4. Can you believe that? 4 GCSEs.
What were they in?
Well, to be honest with you,
English?
I do lie about this because I got 2 A's and a B in English, right? But
Well,
I
there we
actually
go.
just got 2 A's because the B was like a speaking and listening thing, which doesn't count. So 2 A's in English.
That was the only one I got an A star in, and I can't even count
Oh, really?
it. Yeah.
C in Spanish, C in drama.
They're great
And,
GCSEs.
yeah, but bone idle. I could have got A stars in English. This was with minimum effort. I got an unclassified in religion and an unclassified in maths because I didn't.
Does that mean you're an atheist?
I think so. Yeah, I didn't turn up for the maths exam, the second one.
You know it's about 40 quid to do your GCSEs if you wanted them.
I don't want to. What the fuck? I think
Listen.
I've got. Listen, all I'm proof of is be bone idle at school, and just do whatever you want to do in life.
I'm further proof of that I coasted through. and
Like
it
this
seemed
is
all right.
terrible as well because my mum's always like, "Can you stop saying that in front of your nieces and your nephew?" Because I'm like, "What do you want to do?" Listen, never mind school. She's like, "Can you not?" I'm like, "Look, you just be you.
As long as you've got a bit of charisma, you'll be
Yeah,
fine.
be what you feel. You know." And was like, "Just turn it in, will you?" Also, my nephew said something very funny the other day. He said he was looking at a video on social media, and it had swearing in it, and he's 13. And I went, "Oh, that's terrible, that." I said, "Oh, that's swearing on there." He went, "That's rich coming from you. Some of the videos of you online."
Well,
Also, why does my 13-year-old nephew talk like a middle-aged woman from the 90s? Well, that's a bit rich coming from you.
talking like a doctor's receptionist.
You know what it is? Because he's surrounded by women. That's what it is, isn't
Oh,
it?
I
That's a
love
bit rich
that.
coming from you.
That there's a kid in our life that is a nan kid, like lives with grandparents, and it just comes out with like little old man things. It's so adorable, so adorable. They're at my house and all the kids are coming over to have like just pizza and snacks and hang out and play games and stuff. And he kept putting his hands on his hips, going, "Oh, what time are the kids coming over then?" I was like, "You're one of the kids."
You're one. How old is it?
The 13.
13.
He's like, "Oh, what time are the kids? Is enough food for the kids?" They've got stuff to pick out, haven't they? And it's like,
Oh my God, it's so funny.
it's absolutely the most charming thing in the world.
I absolutely love it. Although it wasn't said so old-fashioned with my nephew. It was more a case of, "Who do you think you are?
Bit of swag.
You come round here like twice every so often and you fucking laying the rules down." It's like, well, can't argue with that, can I? Anyway, Nicholas Rossi. The Now, took the coffee maker. She had a restraining order against Jack. So he said, I couldn't see my children. Yeah, okay, mate. Now, in December 1990, Diana gave birth to a third child, Deandra, and she was already divorced from Jack at the time. So at this point, Nick is 3.5 years old.
Yeah.
Nicholas. Now, they did stay in touch, Diana and the children, with the wider family on Jack's side. The uncle, I think he was called Mike, described Nick as great. He said he was always smiling, he was never in trouble, he was very polite. Now, when Nick was 7 or 8, Diana stopped seeing that side of the family and the Alaverdian family and cut off contact. And yes, it is Mike, the uncle. He said that Jack was a shit father. Nicholas developed behavioural issues.
Yeah.
Mental health issues. And he sort of, I guess, Diana, it was quite difficult with 3 children on her own. They were living between different foster homes and he was going to treatment centres and...
Yeah, he basically got put in residential children's homes and became part of the foster care system and was kind of, would stay with foster families, and he moved around a lot, which is like not great for a kid, right? They need some stability. But loads of the foster families...
It's not great for me, I'm sick of travelling.
Loads of the foster
Where's
families...
my stability? Where's the people for me around as an adult? I feel unsettled.
You got an agent. You got a partner.
Yeah,
you
but
got
I don't
parents.
bother my agent with trivialities of my life.
You're right. You are worse off than a child in foster care. I'm glad you raised it.
Do you know what? I'm glad. What about me? Hey, where's my stability? I feel like I live on trains.
So
Don't write him.
So he was moved around a lot because what would happen is he'd go to a foster family and they wouldn't be able to meet his needs. The behaviour would be really challenging, so placement would break down and he'd go somewhere else. So that is like every time it happens, it makes things worse because as a kid, you convince yourself that you're more unlovable, that and you get more and more shame. And so he's going backwards and forwards from his biological family to foster homes, residential homes. He actually becomes, or we'll talk about it later, but this becomes a big part of his identity later on, as you would expect.
Yes. Now, the uncle, Mike Alaverdian, he didn't know about any of this, and he said that if he'd have known about all this, he would have taken the children. Whether he would or not, we don't know. It's very easy to say after the event.
Exactly.
In 1994, Diana meets David Rossi. This is the guy, right? She's a waitress, and at
Taylor's oldest time, he is... an Engelbert Humperdinck lookalike.
Impersonator.
Oh, yeah, sorry, impersonator. But weirdly, he's like not big in America, I don't think. He's like a British...
Yeah.
He's a British phenomenon. So incredible that he's able to make a living out there. When I doubt Engelbert Humperdinck is like, I can't really make money off a tour here. And
Well, he's just toured. Engelbert Humperdinck.
Oh, really?
Here. Yeah, he weirdly...
Did you go to that as well as Barry Manilow?
Don't like Engelbert. Listen, Barry is far superior to Engelbert Humperdinck. Don't get me started. Now, Engelbert Humperdinck, a friend of Justin Morehouse, was the support act for him.
What?
Yeah, so...
Mad when they do that.
So I was like... Anyway, he talks about it in his podcast, Justin, so he won't mind me saying. He said it was just... He didn't meet him, it was just awful. He was treated like crap.
Yeah.
So he walks in and he's like... I'm the support act, yeah. And they're like, okay, just be really... And he said that he felt like walking out and just leaving, but he'd taken his mum and his mother-in-law to the thing, so he was like, I don't want to... he said the gig was great, he said, but... And then he said he had to go back the next night, he said, but luckily Engelbert got ill. So
really?
Yeah, so he didn't have to go back. But he just said that... I think
still got paid.
And and it was very interesting because someone else, there was another... I can't remember the guy's name, another comedian... phoned into Justin's podcast and said that he'd supported Shirley Bassey on tour. Don't get your hopes up. So if you want to hear the story about that, listen to Justin's podcast.
Yeah, she frequently, I think, has comedians. It's quite an old-fashioned thing to have a comedian open for you.
Barry Manilow had Jimmy Tarbuck.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I think they are actually friends.
Yeah.
And also Barry wouldn't make someone feel uncomfortable, Barry.
Daniel Kitson used to open for Belle and Sebastian. There's some words you're going to hate together.
I've been to see Daniel Kitson. Good comedy, enjoy it. The rest of that, to be honest with you, that is my night out in hell. Oh,
you
God,
shit.
the fucking shoegazing. And, do you have any organic beers at the bar, please? Fuck that. Jesus Christ. Paul McCaffrey, open for the Libertines.
Really?
Look, he talks about it in his podcast.
I can't think of a band that I could open for where I wouldn't eat shit.
No, I can't think that I would want to.
Maybe something like... I like it when music opens for, like, shows as well. As you know, one of my favourite shows I saw, Joan Collins' one-woman show, opened for by... This is a real snapshot of the time, 4 Puffs and a Piano.
When did you go and see that?
That was years ago.
Oh, because I went last year.
Oh, it wasn't... It was the... However many...
Did I talk about this? Because she did Leicester Square Theatre. And her husband Percy was there at the door with her.
Is he much younger?
Yeah, and he was there with a Marks and Spencer's bag. Just waiting for somebody, which was very weird. And I went with Tim's mum, and I was asking the staff, because we know the people at Leicester Square Theatre, and she'd done 2 shows, one in the afternoon, one in the evening, 90 odd. Ooh. And I said, "What's she like?" And they're like, "Oh, she's just dead nice, yeah."
Oh, good.
Just lies on the sofa in Leicester Square Theatre.
Love that
filthy sofa.
Oh God. Well, she is someone I know's godmother.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and she's everything you want her to be.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah,
Lovely. Now.
She looks great as well.
Yes. Also, if you're into your ghosts, and who isn't, there's a really good...
Joan Collins is nearly a ghost.
There's a really good ghost story that Joan Collins has told about a house in Venice, which her and a load of other couple of celebs and famous people go to stay in. It's really good.
Oh, really? Where would I find that?
There's a podcast called Haunted UK Podcast, which is very good as well. There'll be an episode on it. And what's it called? It's called Villa di something or something like that. Anyway, I'll let you know. But there's a documentary about it as well, like a short little bit on YouTube. Anyway, we must get on with this. Now, she initially doesn't let David / Engelbert meet her 3 children because she says they're out of control. And
I thought he was doing that thing that, like, because my friends, a lot of them are single mums, who were like, they're not meeting the kids until we've been together for at least a year. Yeah. But she's more like, you're not meeting my kids. They're fucking nightmares.
You will go. Yeah. So he convinces her to meet them, and he says they come over to his apartment. He described them as little terrorists. They more or less destroyed the flat. Yeah. She said they were out of control, but she tried to control them. They had medicine to keep them under control. Nicholas was 8 at the time. He was very demanding. He kept hitting his mother.
Yeah,
I would have punched the little cunt's lights out.
He was, well, I think he's learnt violence from somewhere, right? We're aware of that. And he's, from a very young age, very violent with his mother. And David Rossi says, from day one, he was wicked about Nicholas Rossi.
I'd love someone to say that about me. Now,
I do frequently.
He did like the children, right? But he said he didn't really want the hassle. But then Diana says, well, we come as a package. And he's like, oh, okay. So on May the 25th, 1996, they get married. And this is where Nicholas gets worse. His behaviour gets worse. He's violent. He hits his mother and his grandma. You horrible little shit. Spitting. Oh, and he was spitting as well.
Well, it just is like a kid is... Yeah, I don't know how... That's so hard, isn't it? Because you're like, well, that's a kid in pain. But also on the other side of it, you're like... But he's also, like, ruining the lives of his siblings, his grandma, his mum. Like,
people at school, he wouldn't do what he was told at school. He wouldn't,
they're not wealthy either, so they're not going to be getting help. They're not going to be getting support.
There was a kid at my school, I won't say his name, and he was a nuisance. A fucking nuisance, he was. And I remember one of the teachers, Mr. Wilmot, was talking about, because it was a Catholic school, wasn't it? He was talking about... Of course, it was like religion.
Taught by Mr. Wilmot.
Oh, yeah. It was like religion or something. He was talking about pregnancy, because men in Catholic schools love to have an opinion on that. And he said something like, well, when mothers drink and smoke when they're pregnant, you can harm the child. And the boy went, oh, that's a load of rubbish, sir. My mum smoked and drank when she was having me, and I've turned out all right. And the entire class was just like...
All the women
really?
Were like, I have to write that down.
It's ridiculous, sir. My mum... I was like, okay, well, there's your perfect example of an absolute moron. So he, to be honest with you, that's one of the few things that I remember from school. None of it went in, like, just...
That's a real University of Life kind of
Yeah.
lesson about fetal alcohol syndrome there.
Learned a lesson, never had children. Do not want them, thank you. Now, David eventually loses his temper with Nicholas.
This is horrible.
They're in the car park of Planet Hollywood. Which, do you remember Planet Hollywood?
It still exists, right?
I don't know if it does. Was it Bruce Willis, Arnold Schwarzenegger? Like, they set up Planet Hollywood.
Oh,
the
wait,
restaurant.
what am I thinking of?
Hard Rock. You're thinking of Hard Rock
Cafe, yeah.
I don't think I've ever... Oh, actually, I've been in one of them in Memphis because it was the only thing that was open at the time. Anyway, boring stories.
Been in one in Reykjavik.
Really?
Yeah, I think that's quite cool, though, isn't it?
Yeah. I didn't know you'd been to Iceland.
Yeah, no big deal. I've told you this. The egg smells of shower. The shower smells
The
of
egg
egg. The egg smells of shower. That is what I'm going to say when people realise I'm having a stroke. The egg smells of shower. Okay. All right.
Now, he did in the car park of Planet Hollywood, right? And, parking lot, if you're in America.
I heard it was Disneyland. This all happened.
Oh, no, Disneyland was a different place. Because this is part of his bad behaviour. They went to Disneyland and he was just pushing in the queue. He was just like, and people were like, what are you doing? He's pushing in and I want to get on a ride, that kind of entitled shit. Anyway, he is going on and on and on, attacking Diana, right? And David eventually loses it and he hits him and he breaks his nose, which is not ideal because Nick's only 12. Now, he was arrested for breaking his nose, but the case was dropped when the judge saw the report about Nicholas, which I guess they're just probably like, well, this is a bit more...
That seems so mad to have happened because he was born about the same age as me. That seems so mad that when I was 12 that people would have been like, yeah, well, he seems like a shit, so we'll let it go.
It's America, though, isn't it?
Do you think it's different? I would have thought it's more because, you know, like the suing culture. Sorry to be like so lame and British saying that, but you know that I would have thought they're more on it.
I think they would have been like, look, we're going to drop this case, but give that kid a gun. That's what they would have said. What this young boy needs is a gun.
But it escalates. So, like, the Disneyland thing is he's being a pain in the ass. He starts hitting his mum. Like, this is in front... Imagine being in Disneyland in front of the castle and the fireworks going off and this kid is beating up his mum and David just loses it and he batters him. It's absolutely awful. He hospitalises him. And the police look into his... Like, do a report... speak to people around him about his behaviour and just let it go.
Well, I mean, it's difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, and also, do you know what's really interesting? If you watch any of the documentaries, David Rossi, the stepfather, he's really open about it in a way I found really disarming. In that he is, you know, often if there's like violence or something like that, they'll lie about it and go, oh, well, I don't remember it like that. Or he's like, yeah, no, I beat him up. And then he was like, I'd do it again. But not in a like, I'd do it again. I loved it. He was like, yeah, he was horrible. And I didn't know what to do with that because I was like, normally people like hide it because they want people to think better of them. But he just kind of doesn't care. And he's like, he's sort of going, what would you do if you just saw this kid beating everyone up?
I just think it gets... And also, I do remember that, you know, these are two... He's attacking the women. So he's attacking his mother and he's attacking his grandmother. A 12-year-old boy is going to be stronger than the majority of women.
And also your siblings. He's battering his siblings as well.
Like, for example, my nephew is 13. He could probably batter me now, I reckon. He could take me in a fight. And he's just a kid. But he's definitely stronger than me. Maybe we should charity fight, me and my nephew.
We're obviously not condoning violence
no, we're not.
Children.
Obviously not.
But we're saying it's that really difficult. I also don't think an adult man should be battering a fucking 11, 12-year-old boy, whatever it is.
No, but I can see how it escalated.
I can see how it escalates, especially with people who don't have, like, training and support and all that kind of stuff.
But what I will say is, and I know this is going to sound awful, but knowing what we know about Nicholas Rossi now, I hate him so much.
Yeah, he's awful.
That I don't care. To the point of, I don't have any sympathy for him in the slightest. There is not an ounce of me that feels for him in any way, shape or form. Child or man.
Do you think there's a world in which that if he had more kindness and support, he wouldn't have done the things that he did?
No, because I think he's a fundamentally bad person. I think he's actually a narcissistic psychopath.
I think he is as
and
well.
I think, yeah, of course, don't get me wrong, I think there should be more support for the family and there should be more assistance there and there should be more effort. I mean, there might have been effort made, I don't know, there should be more things in place. But I can't, knowing what I know now about him, I just think he's a lunatic. And I think he's a danger to women.
Well, he's also very manipulative.
Yeah.
And again, this is like a survival tactic, right?
The flip side of this is his siblings haven't done any of this stuff. I assume they've just gone on to live a life. I think the guy is a bad seed.
Bad seed.
He's a bad seed.
I like that. I'd have that on a T-shirt. Now, as he grows up, he's very good at finding people who can do stuff for him. Again, it's that sort of like manipulative thing. So there's a coach that he gets quite close to who, you know, I think he's in foster care with him, right? That coach guy.
I think so, yeah. And this coach guy, he's got like 5 kids as well, hasn't he?
So he's like in the family.
Very supportive towards him.
Amazing. Well, goes to legally adopt him.
Yes.
And there's this mad story where Nicholas Rossi is in with the judge, and then the guy who's adopting is Bob, I think his name is, right?
Yeah.
Goes into the room to sort of like talk to the judge, and Nicholas is trying to stop him, and he's going, he's not gonna let me be adopted. And it was like gets to the point where the phrase is aging out the system, where, you know, you get into 18 and then they just kind of like kick you out, although that doesn't happen in the United Kingdom. On paper, it doesn't happen in the United Kingdom. So he's going, they won't let me. And then the judge sends Nicholas out the room, because what Nicholas had said to this coach is, listen, I've been in children's homes and I've seen abuse. I've experienced abuse of every single kind. And, you know, I've been beaten up by kids. I've, you know, been sexually assaulted by people who work there. Or just the most horrific life. And so he's like, well, let me adopt you. Like, let's give a fresh start. And then, so he sends Nicholas Rossi out the room, and the judge says, he was like, what's going on here? I want to adopt this kid. And he goes, everything he's told you that he has had done to him, he's been the one doing it.
Oh my God.
And like, because we don't actually know to check this or verify this, because in America, I don't know if it's the same in the United Kingdom, your file as a child is like protected. So you can't go back through the records, but the judge has them, and was like, don't believe him, don't trust him. And then he doesn't get adopted. God. And he's very, very angry.
Ooh.
But what he does go on to do is he gets work experience as like a clerk in a sort of like a local, well, like local politics, basically.
Local government.
And he takes it, he is bright. He takes in a lot. Also, like, where is a psychopathic personality going to absolutely fly? Politics. And he does really well, and he becomes a very vocal advocate for care experienced people. So that's, you know, people who've grown up in foster care. So he sort of publicly speaks to the point where people on the Hill, as they say, you know, people in Washington are like, who's this kid? Like, he's going to do brilliantly. He's going to be a politician, because Nicholas Rossi becomes kind of quite famous.
Yeah. Well respected.
Well
thought of, listened to.
He's very articulate. He's very young. He turns up in this suit and looking really smart. But, you know, like, but he's got charisma, he's got chat, he's kind of got everything.
I have to say, though, you know, when people say, a lot of the times when people say someone's charismatic, right, and it's a younger person, I'm like, no, they're not. They're a little upstart. You are making me uncomfortable. Like, it makes me cringe, gives me the ick, as they say. You don't like the phrase the ick, do you?
I just think it's overused.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you'll love this. So the other month when we were in Edinburgh, I saw someone that we know.
Yeah.
And I was just sitting having a drink, and I looked out of the window and I saw this person, and I got the biggest ick of my life. Do you know why? They still had headphones that they plug into the phone.
What an absolutely pathetic reason to have it.
And I just went, as if that person couldn't get any more vile. And I just watched them get the phone and I just went, click. Get some fucking AirPods. Seriously.
Get something wireless.
Honestly, it just made me go.
Is it not their age?
Well, no. It's probably the fact that they're tight with money, but also the fact that they're just unpleasant. You know? And I thought to myself, at least I've got a pair of AirPods. But yeah, I just went, watch something and he just plugged them in and I went, oh my God, no, thank you. Also, men who use umbrellas.
Oh, Rachel. I think it's really distinguishing when one uses an umbrella. George Fouracres uses an umbrella and he's played Hamlet.
Fine.
Isn't it weird that one of our friends has played Hamlet in the RSC?
Weird. It is weird. Look, fine. But you know what it is? I don't know. It's the same with rucksacks and umbrellas. All right, a distinguished umbrella.
How does Tim carry his things around? Just like in his arms in front of him?
Well, he does.
Cradling all like a child?
He does have I bought him a nice rucksack.
Okay.
Which is fine, but I don't know. There's just something. And I always feel like a nerd when I've got a rucksack. I hate it.
Do you know what I don't like? Record bags when they're too long. Like, I can just about cope with a record bag, especially if it's a certain look. But those bags that go across, those big square ones, and when they're too long and they're like banging on the thigh.
Thing. Oh, no. I hate it. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean there. Ugh.
Anyway, back to the failings of the foster care system in America.
That has actually annoyed me. Just pull your bag up. Anyway, so I can't remember what we're on about.
We're talking about him trying to be adopted and then not being adopted.
So we've got that. And
then being in basically local politics.
Yeah.
Should I play the whistle as an interlude? Do. Did you play a recorder?
No. I didn't play any music. I told you I used to mime the violin. Until I got found out. Now, what I was going to talk about...
Can you do a little mime now? I'd love to see how one mimes a violin.
Oh, so I'd be there with the violin and, I'd be like that and I'd just be like... I'd have the bow just sort of there. And I'd be like, just looking what the other kids were doing. Until one day I got found out. The violin was taken away.
Oh, I thought you would have been really going for it with your eyes closed, sort of swaying to the music.
To be honest with you, the instrument that I did play at school was the steel pans. We had...
What, as in like...
Yeah. So this was at primary school.
Where are you going to primary school with steel pans? Trinidad and Tobago?
North Manchester. So Mr. Braithwaite was the teacher, and there was about 7 of us. I've got a picture of me playing them. In fact, it's a really funny picture because we had to. You'd play, and it was really, really good. I really enjoyed it. But when you went to the bigger school, you couldn't come back and still play them because it was just for that thing. And honestly, I loved it, and it was really easy. And because it's just like sticks with elastic bands around the top. And we were really, really good. And it was such a great thing. And I really enjoyed doing it. And there's a picture of me, but because there was too many of us for the amount of pans, each one of us had to sit out for a certain song. And there's a picture of all the kids playing steel pans. And I'm just like,
no.
As in like, I just want to play my steel pans. It was great. Mr. Braithwaite, I think he was from the Caribbean.
Amazing.
And... loved it. So, I genuinely would love to go back and play the steel pans again.
That's your 2025 resolution.
So much fun. And we played all kinds of... Love Me Tender, we played. The Calypso Carol, we played at Christmas.
Do you know about...
oh my God, that woman looks like the end. Don't look now.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck me, we don't need that.
Do you know the story about, Ed from Taro? Do you know that he was in a samba band with his mother?
Was he?
Yes, at the tender age of 15. Too old.
What was he playing?
Well, the drums, right? So
okay.
So they're
so like the...
Yeah, so they were in a samba band and crew, all these words mixing together. And I was like, what? I've got to pay for parking.
On that note, she's got to pay for parking. Now... I've said another ick.
Can you hold fort while I pay for parking?
Yeah, another ick of mine is people talking to me about parking.
I don't
care where you've parked your car. I don't want to hear it. Well, the parking around there, I couldn't give a fuck. I don't drive. Although I'm actually having a a refresher driving. I can drive. Passed my test
I was gonna say.
14 years ago. Not put a foot to a pedal since, darling. And I have now, so for my birthday, I got 2 refresher driving lessons. So hopefully, I mean, there's no
great.
point driving in London.
No, but what? So why are you doing it then?
Because I think sometimes, you know, if I'm like in Lincolnshire visiting Tim's parents, I think, oh, it'd be nice if I could drive. Like, so I'm like the only person there who can't drive. So it'd be nice if, you know, we went out sometimes and I drove people back.
Oh, okay.
Instead, you know what I mean? Instead of just sitting there like bloody little Lord Fauntleroy in the back of the car. Or sometimes I have to say driving to gigs maybe because I am sick of staying over.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, here's another thing. When did stage time start becoming so late?
This is
most things, right, should start at 7 p.m. 7 to 7:30. You know, people are out after work. They think, we'll go and watch some comedy. We've got tickets for this. They don't want to be hanging around for 3 bloody hours, do they? Now, start your gig at 7 or 7:30. Finish it by 9:30. People will probably stay and drink more if that's what you're concerned. Most comedy nights now are just becoming about beer sales. Do you agree?
Yes.
I'm getting really fed up. My stage time tonight or tomorrow night is 20 past 10.
That's too late.
Why?
That's way too late. I get on tour now. If I get that, it happened last night where they're like, "Can we just check what time the show starts?" And I'll be like 7:30, and they're like, "We had 8," and I'm like, "What?" And it's such a tiny thing, but it makes such a difference between like, okay, show's down and we're done by like 10.
Yeah.
And like 10:30, okay, we're nudging into 11 territory by the time I've met everyone and stuff.
It is not fair on the audience. It is not fair on the staff.
Deliveroo's not working very well afterwards.
So, but also it's that little difference of being able to get home or having to pay extra for a hotel because fees aren't going up. Let me tell you that. Mm. And here's something that happened the other day. You paid for parking? Yeah,
parking is paid for. Thank you.
So, was gigging in Southampton the other night. And got to the hotel. It was 3:10. And I said, hello.
In the morning?
No, in the evening.
All right.
It's afternoon, so I was checking in, you know. So I said, oh, hello, got a room booked here for tonight.
Room's not ready.
Oh, well, the room isn't... I said, it's 3:10. I said, check-in is 3:00. Oh, well, we're just doing our hygiene and something. I went, I don't know what that means because I don't work here. I said, but 3:00 is the check-in time. I said, so either you're going to give me my room or you're giving me free breakfast. The room was ready. Funny old world, innit? Don't fuck me about. I think as well, the thing with me is, I think people think, oh, who's this child?
Yeah.
And I'll tell you now, that I think women on your own in hotels, you are treated with a level of fucking suspicion that a man on his own never would.
Oh, what, they think you're a sex worker?
There's either that, or I remember saying to somebody, like, can you tell me why you're being so... Oh, well, we have I'm like, I'm not being trafficked.
Right.
And it's so obnoxious.
Fucking try trafficking her.
Well, exactly, but it's so obnoxious and it's so assuming, and that the level of scrutiny on you as a woman in certain hotels on your own is insane.
I get... Because there's an argument where they're just trying to keep you safe, but these cunts, the way they go about it, they don't.
And they don't think I'm being trafficked. They think I'm a sex worker. Mm. And I've checked in, I've paid for a room. Fuck off.
You also, if you were a sex worker, you're not going to be the only person having fucking sex in that hotel.
Exactly. To be honest with you, if you're worried about sex workers in your hotels, look at the men that have booked the rooms, because it will be a guy that has booked the fucking room. Women, like, we're not going, oh, brilliant, I'm a sex worker. Let me make this easier for this man by booking this hotel, you know? I, as a woman, am not booking a hotel thinking, oh, going to get myself a gigolo this evening. Can't imagine anything worse, thank you. Anyway, where were we? We have got...
He's sort of in politics.
Yes.
Is that where we do up to? Or do we do up to faking his... No.
Well, he's in politics. He's doing all kinds of stuff. And he's... but also, he's using his power to abuse women.
Yes.
Who'd have thought it? Who would have thunk it? And that's all I've got on this bit, to be honest.
Well, I think we should talk about his crimes in the next section. The crimes that lead to him coming over to the United Kingdom.
Well,
Yeah.
Very, very peculiar.
So that is the childhood of kind of rising superstar at this time, Nicholas Rossi, who is giving speeches and advocating. It's so difficult, isn't it? Because like it's so rare that you have someone who's care experienced, who has a platform, who can speak eloquently and engage people for reform. And the fact that
He's a liar.
he turns out to be a liar and a fucking
He's an abuser.
rapist
He's a liar.
is horrific.
He's a manipulator. He's a dangerous person. Do not like him.
No, I think you made that clear.
I have made this clear.
Do you know what, Rachel? I bet he's got headphones you plug into your phone.
100%. And it gets worse as well. I mean, later on, it becomes absolutely laughable in the worst way.
Yeah, it's mad. It's mad. So we will be back for part 2. We'll talk about his crimes then, and then on the third episode we'll talk about the trial and everything that's happened since.
Oh God, I'm dreading that.
Well, we'll try and squeeze it in. We'll try and squeeze it into one more
God
episode.
almighty.
This has been the All Killer No Killer Halloween special on Nicholas Rossi.
You're on tour.
I'm on tour.
Tickets available.
We've got a Christmas show in Newcastle. Thank you so much to everyone who's got tickets for that already. Rachel is on tour in February. Any other business?
RachelFairburn.com.
Rachel Fairburn.
Kiri Pritchard-McLean.com.
Maybe .co.uk. I can't actually remember. I'm sure it'll redirect.
You'll find it. I mean, this is what annoys me these days. It's like, what's the address? I think you can find it on Google.
So often I want to put google.co.uk
Yeah,
and be like, if you pop it in there,
you know, sometimes when I don't know where I'm gigging, I will Google, my name in Southampton. Oh, bingo. There it is. There's where you're going, Rachel. So why do you find it so hard? Thanks for listening.
Thanks for coming.